Hello, this is Mrs. Bennett. Today I want to talk to you about what we call the signer's perspective. So this is kind of how we orient the world in sign language. Something that's really important to keep in mind is that ASL is a visual gestural language. That means what we sign is based on what we see. It's not based on the meaning of the words or anything else. The point of the language is to be visual. So maybe you've been trying to give directions or someone's trying to explain something to you and they say, oh, it's on the right. And you have to ask, well, is that my right or is that your right? Well, in ASL, we never have to ask that question because we always use what we call the signer's perspective. That means you must learn to see through the other person's eyes as they sign. So let me give you some examples about what that looks like. So see the arrow at the top of the page? It points to the left. But as you watch, as we're looking at it, but as you watch this woman sign it, look at how she traces that shape. Because of the way she's looking at it, it points the other direction, but it still points to her left. All right, so this is a water bottle there on the table. If I were to reach for it, as I come toward it and reach with it, I pick it up in my right hand. So when I sign it, I set up the table and then I set up the water bottle and I put it on my right because that's where I found it, on the right hand side. So it might look a little backwards at first because if you see it on the picture, as I looked at it, the water bottle was on my right. But when I signed it, the water bottle is on my right, but it's on your left. So you have to realize, wait a minute, Mrs. Bennett picked it up with her right hand. She's signing it with her right hand. It is on the right side of the desk. All right, here's another example of that. Here's a piece of paper and it's got a star in the upper right-hand corner. So watch how I sign this. So here's that piece of paper. Then I have to turn it over when I set it down, right? So I talk about the paper, draw the shape of it, and then I show you the upper right-hand corner, and right beneath that there's a star, and here's its shape. It's on your left, but it's on my right. So when I pick up the paper and I look at it, you can see through the paper to see that's where the star is. So when you turn around, you can see how it works differently. Now, deaf people don't spend a lot of time sitting around just signing shapes at each other. This will apply to bigger concepts that we're going to learn later on. And these are a couple students from my ASL 3 class who volunteered to help make an example for you so you can see how this will work. Taylor's about to ask a question of Liz. So she says, where's the AP's office? So Liz visualizes it and she pictures herself walking down the hall and the library is on her left and then the AP office is on her right. So that's what she signs to Taylor. In the hall, library's on the left, AP's office is on the right. So Taylor turns it around in her head. So when she's walking down the hall, sure enough, there's the library on the left, the AP's office is on her right, and she can get to exactly where she's going. So this is what we call the signer's perspective. And here's a definition for you. The person who is signing should always use their own point of view. Liz visualized her trip down the hallway. She signed it as she pictured it in her head. Taylor took that picture and sort of turned it around to put herself in Liz's eyes so that when it was Taylor's turn to walk down the hall and go to the AP's office, it looked exactly the way she visualized it when Liz signed it. The library was on her left and the AP's office was on her right. So that's the trick. That's the one tricky part of this is we as viewers, as we're learning to sign, need to learn to reverse that image in our mind so that when we see it through their eyes, it will be correct. Now I just want to practice with a few more shapes. So watch how she signs this and then visualize what you think the shape is going to look like when she's done, and then I'll show you the answer. You got it? It's a diamond at the top and a circle at the bottom. All right, this one's a little tougher. Let's see if you can do it. Did you get the wedge missing out of the circle correctly? Did you get Pac-Man facing the right way? So you've got a triangle at the top and then that circle at the bottom. But remember, it's reversed. So you have to picture it the way that she signed it. I hope this has been helpful to you and that you'll have lots of opportunities to practice this. This is one of those aspects of ASL that will follow you all the way through everything you're learning. Even if we just practice something simple like drawing shapes or playing tic-tac-toe right now, we can apply this to lots of other things as we go through the language later on. Happy signing!